What's up, guys? It's Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with another Hocus Pokemon video. One, a last, a time. This is the last episode of the Hocus Pokemon series on the channel because they're not big view generators, but I also felt like I would have been cheating you guys if I hadn't finished it. So we're doing one more time, and I'm constructing a team for the youngest heroine, Dani Dennison. After this, I'm going to start trying to focus more heavily on the theories, the what-ifs, the top 5s and 10s, merch reviews, reactions, etc. Thanks for being patient with me as I navigate the newsless territory and get used to pre-Hocus Pocus 2 habits/numbers, and especially thank you for tuning into the live streams every week. I really appreciate that. So sit back and enjoy Dani's Pokemon team, and stay tuned for a few announcements at the end. To begin Dani's journey, we need to establish that she won't be going too far from Salem. Max and his team have gone off together, leaving Dani home with their parents. And if you haven't watched Max's team, you can do that by clicking on this thing right here. Even with that frightening Halloween in the books, Dani still loves the holiday and the candy that comes with it, of course. So let's take that into account, and as usual, her starter won't be the normal fire, grass, water trio. Hers matches her sweet tooth. A little Pokemon born from sweet smells in the air will be her first Pokemon, and it's a Milcery. Milcery evolves into the fairy-type Pokemon, Alcremie. Alcremie is made from, you guessed it, whipped cream, and its Pokedex entry reads, "When it trusts a trainer, it will treat them to berries it's decorated with cream." What an adorably perfect Pokemon for Dani's first partner. It is very friendly with people, and it warms up to its trainer quickly. With the fairy type only having 2 weaknesses in poison and steel, Alcremie would be able to protect Dani valiantly. Its ability Sweet Veil prevents itself and those in the party from falling victim to sleep status. So, if Dani has another run-in with, the hypnotic Sarah Sanderson, Alcremie could prevent her hypnosis from working. Alcremie is also incredibly fast with a high special attack stat. Its physical defense is pretty high as well, but the other stats are average. However, for Dani, this is the best starter she could ask for. And this Pokemon can also Gigantamax, which boosts its stats, makes it harder to take down, and changes its form, as well as being 50 feet tall. Also, please picture, for just a moment, if you will, a giant Alcremie just shooting whipped cream at the Sanderson sisters, and just try not to laugh. Try not to laugh. You couldn't do it, could you? Like Max, Dani is compassionate when it comes to catching stray Pokemon. One day after school, with Milcery on her shoulder, Dani passes a box with a faded "free" written on the side of it. Inside is one tiny little Pokemon that looks undernourished and sickly. Dani picks it up and takes it home because, by golly, if Max can have more than one pet, she can too. She and her mom give the little fella some food and a bath to prevent fleas, and then Dani offers it a Pokeball and a place to stay, so she catches her next member, Eevee. Eevee is a normal-type Pokemon, and its entry reads, its ability to evolve into many forms allows it to adapt smoothly and perfectly to any environment. Eevee can evolve into 8 different species of Pokemon, so it has great potential from the get-go. This actually works in tandem with Dani, who is still very young and unsure about what she wants to do whenever she gets older. She has a lot of paths open to her, just like Eevee does with its evolution. Eevee has only one weakness in the fighting type, but as a normal type, it's not really super effective to any other type. Eevee has 2 abilities, Adaptability and Runaway, with Runaway being the best choice for Dani's Eevee. Runaway allows a Pokemon to escape any fight with a wild Pokemon. Runaway would also allow Dani to get the heck out of Dodge with the Sanderson sisters, because we know for a fact she needs some help in the running department. Between Eevee's potential to evolve and the ability Runaway, Eevee would be a great second Pokemon for Dani to raise. While Eevee and Milcery are wonderful friends, Dani still finds herself missing Binks. One crisp October day, as she walks home from school, a black cat runs across Dani's path and her head whips around. Thinking it might be her old friend, she pursues the cat and ends up in a dark alley. The cat hisses at her, then jumps down into the light. This is no ordinary cat. No, it's a Pokemon. It challenges her to a battle, and she sends out Alcremie to fight, and on a whim, Dani catches a Litten. Litten is a fire type that evolves into Torracat and then Incineroar. However, Dani's will remain a Litten for this list, and its Pokedex entry says, if you try too hard to get close to it, it won't open up to you. Even if you do grow close, giving it too much affection is still a no-no. Litten would be a challenge for Dani to raise, as she had gotten used to snuggling Binks so much. Litten would not want to be bothered nearly as much as Binks was, but it would be affectionate when it wants to be, which will teach Dani self-control and how to respect its space. This is a valuable lesson for Dani, not only with her Litten, but with her brother Max as well, because we all know how Dani is about personal space.
Oh, Allison. You're so soft. Just wanna... Boom! Dani!
I scared you. Ha 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 ha.
Mom and Dad told you to stay out of my room.
Don't be such a crab.
Apart from that valuable teaching moment, Litten's stats are on the low side, but that is due to it being the first stage of a 3-stage evolutionary line. It excels in attack and speed, and its ability Blaze raises its fire-type moves in a pinch. So, if Litten is low on health, it makes up for it in strength. With this Pokemon being the perfect representation of Binks, it makes sense that Dani would opt for it in her team. Ah, autumn, Dani's favorite time of year. It's time to go pick out a pumpkin from one of the local pumpkin stalls to make her jack-o'-lantern. With Alcremie, Eevee, and Litten by her side, she sets off on a quest to find the perfect pumpkin. As she browses the third stall of the day, she spies a gorgeous pumpkin with a thick brown stem. That's the one. As Dani picks it up, 2 yellow eyes pop open and the pumpkin turns over and looks right at her. They both scream in surprise, and the Pokemon starts floating. It shoots a ball of shadow at Dani from fright, but Litten takes care of the attack. He blows a flame at the pumpkin and knocks it out. Dani still thinks it looks awesome, so she catches a Pumpkaboo. Pumpkaboo is a ghost and grass-type Pokemon that evolves into Gourgeist when it is traded with another trainer. However, Dani's Pumpkaboo will remain in its first stage. Its Pokedex entry reads, spirits that wander this world are placed into Pumpkaboo's body, then they're moved on to the afterlife. Pumpkaboo reminds me a lot of Dani's Pumpkin Lantern from Hocus Pocus, but it also has a Pokedex entry that would make it super useful to Dani. Spirits who wander the world are sucked into it, huh? So it's a prison, you might say. Dani would be extremely protected from 3 wicked witch spirits if she had a Pumpkaboo, wouldn't she? Pumpkaboo would just have to float up to the Sanderson sisters like, hello. Then whoosh, no more witch problem. Pumpkaboo has a high defense stat, high-ish attack and special defense, and average stats everywhere else. It has 2 abilities that would be beneficial to Dani in Pickup and Frisk. Pickup allows Pumpkaboo to pick up discarded items or hidden items at any time. Frisk also allows Pumpkaboo to check an opponent's item in battle, alerting its trainer to what their foe might be holding. Pickup would be great for Dani while she's trick-or-treating, as Pumpkaboo could float around picking up pieces of candy that maybe other kids dropped or something, or there was one that fell out of the bowl on the porch, Pumpkaboo could just pick it up for her. Frisk, however, would be useful in case she runs into the Sanderson sisters again. Pumpkaboo would alert Dani to any life potion or other wicked item the witches might be carrying. Either one works for Dani, and she would have a forever jack-o'-lantern. While preparing for the Halloween with her Pokemon and parents, Dani gets a few pieces of candy from a local honey farmer as a sample while her parents look for candy to hand out. Dani takes her Pokemon over to a bench in the park and gives 1 to each of them while she plans to eat the last 2. As she sucks on the honey candy with her friends, small footsteps trudge up next to them. Dani sees a small bear reaching up to the bench and sniffing around. It looks like a living teddy bear. Dani is immediately infatuated with it and realizes the smell of the candy brought it over. She offers her last one to the bear, who sits down and starts licking it happily, and that's how Dani catches Teddiursa. Teddiursa is a normal-type Pokemon that evolves into Ursaring, and if given a peat block on the night of a full moon, Ursaluna. Ursaring is what Dani's Teddiursa will become. Ursaring's Pokedex entry reads, it usually wears a hardened expression, but when it's licking up honey, which it loves, the joy it feels will cause it to break into a wide grin. Ursaring is also a normal type, and a ferocious one at that. These Pokemon are very territorial and excel in attack, have high stats in all the other areas, but pretty low speed. Ursaring also has only one weakness in the fighting type. They're very protective of their young, and the same would be easily said for Dani. Ursaring is basically a representation of Max. He wears a hard expression most of the time, too, but it just takes the right thing to make him smile and feel joy again. His fiercely protective nature when it comes to Dani mirrors in this Pokemon as well, as Max was willing to go to fisticuffs for her.
For the last time, prepare to meet thy doom! You little pest! I've had enough of you.
Ursaring would go head-to-head with the Sanderson sisters, no problem, and its two possible abilities make it even more of a threat to them. The first is called Quick Feet, which boosts Ursaring's speed stat if it has a status condition such as paralysis or poison. The other ability, Guts, boosts the attack stat if it has a status condition, again, like poison or paralysis. So imagine, if you will, Winifred zapping Ursaring, who has either of these abilities, and the electricity causes it to get the paralysis status. Up goes the speed with Quick Feet, and the next thing she knows, there's an angry bear running on her trail. Or, in the case of Guts, a bulked out bear going berserk because she tried to take Dani. Even if Max isn't around, Dani would be safe with Ursaring, and they'd share some honey candy in between bouts. Halloween night sees a lot of trick-or-treating for Dani and her pals. At one house, someone has a cotton candy machine. What luck! The elderly gentleman running the machine has a clump of cotton candy floating around him, but it has eyes? Dani walks up and gets her cotton candy, then asks about the floating blob. Turns out it was a stray Pokemon the old man was looking after, but he wasn't sure he'd be able to keep up with it so much. Dani decides to catch her sixth and final Pokemon, Swirlix. Swirlix is a fairy-type Pokemon that evolves into Slurpuff when holding a whipped dream, and it is traded to another trainer. This, of course, would require Dani to trade Swirlix, so it stays as it is. Its Pokedex entry reads, "The sweet smell of cotton candy perfumes Swirlix's fluffy fur. This Pokemon spits out sticky string to tangle up its enemies." Swirlix is basically a piece of candy. What better partner for trick-or-treating than a living piece of candy? Dani and Swirlix would have so much fun trick-or-treating together, and they'd probably get double the candy since Swirlix eats a lot of sugar every day to keep up its strength. They'd share in the spoils together, and Dani would likely dress it up to match her, along with her other Pokemon, of course. Swirlix isn't very strong, with most of its stats being average and attack and speed lower. Poison and steel types are its only weaknesses, which doesn't bode great for it being matched up against our three witches. However, that sticky string would be very beneficial in tying them up for a quick getaway. Swirlix has the same ability as Alchemy and Sweet Veil, so that would be double the protection from Sarah Sanderson's hypnosis. Dani and her costume Pokemon head back towards their house when she hears a soft cry. It sounds like an animal's hurt. Dani climbs up on Ursaring's back with Alchemy, Litten, and Eevee, while Swirlix and Pumpkaboo float alongside them. Ursaring starts running in the direction of the crying, and they find a gorgeous red and white creature laying in the grass, rolling a sparkling orb back and forth. It looks a lot like the ball Max had that he uses to summon his friend Latios. Dani hopped off of Ursaring and slowly walked over to the Pokemon. It looked a lot like Latios, too. She asked if it was okay, and it nodded. It understood her. Dani told it about her brother's Pokemon Latios, and the Pokemon perked up immediately. It handed Dani its orb and nuzzled her cheek happily. Dani, without battling, becomes friends with Latios. Latios is the sister of Latios, which works perfectly with Max and Dani's dynamic. Its entry reads, "Latios is highly sensitive to the emotions of people. If it senses any hostility, this Pokemon ruffles the feathers all over its body and cries shrilly to intimidate the foe." Latios is a psychic and dragon-type legendary Pokemon with extremely high special defense, special attack, and speed, while the other 3 stats are more average. It does have 6 weaknesses, but its bulk makes up for it. Latios possesses the ability Levitate, preventing ground-type moves from affecting it. This ability, like with Max's Latios, would offer Dani a much faster and safer escape than trying to run from the Sanderson sisters, because we all know she's really bad at doing that. Latios' protectiveness would also be key in keeping Dani safe, especially from Winifred. Electric attacks don't really do much against Latios, so Winifred would be pretty powerless against her. Latios also has the potential to Mega Evolve into Mega Latios, which ups its stats considerably, making it even more of a threat. Latios would be able to fly faster than all 3 sisters and keep Dani out of harm's way. Of course, she can only have 6 Pokemon at a time, so Latios would come with the call from her Soul Dew. So, there you have it. Those are my picks for Dani's Pokemon team. Alcremie, Eevee, Litten, Pumpkaboo, Ursaring, and Swirlix, with Latios as her legendary partner. What did you guys think? Do you agree with my picks, or would you have chosen a different Pokemon? Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said before, this is the last Hocus Pokemon video, as these really don't bring in the views, but it felt wrong of me to not at least finish the series before giving it the axe. As always, if you are new to my channel, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It helps me. What helps me helps you guys get more great content. Kind of like this, but since the series is going away, not exactly like this, but like this. My birthday stream is fast approaching, so if you plan to send fan mail, just get it in the mail. Just get it in the mail ASAP. If you want it here on time, you know the drill. If you'd like to participate in submitting Hocus Pocus trivia questions for my Hocus Pocus Bean Boozled challenge that will happen on the birthday stream, join our Discord. I actually have the deadline set out for April 9th now, because we still need some more questions. If you want to do it, you got till April 9th. You must be part of our Discord to participate, because that's the best way to get it to the people who are making the quiz. I can't make the quiz, or I'll know the answers. Like, it has to go in the Discord, because the mods are there. They're the ones putting together the quiz. Ergo, I won't know the answers. Black Flame Gaming will return on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will continue Mary Sanderson's Pokemon journey, which, if you missed that first episode, holy moly did you miss out. That was awesome. We had some crazy stuff happen, which you actually saw what my starter was, well, what Mary's starter was in the short that came out yesterday, so... it was nuts, and it just got crazier from there, and I'm really looking forward to continuing that, so please be sure to tune in. It's a lot of fun. We talk, y'all get to name the Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. On July 16th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be going live with a Hocus Pocus Trivia and Treats Edition watch-along to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Hocus Pocus. If you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like and share your thoughts on the final Hocus Pokemon video down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zogelman, aka the 4th Sanderson sister, and I'll see you witches and wizards later.